Good morning, friends. Myself, Manoj Kumar Chitale, Assistant Professor, Hirashiover Institute of Technology, Nidsoshi. In this session, we people are going to discuss time division multiplexing. A time division multiplexing, it's a digital process that allows the several connection to share a high bandwidth of a link here. Instead of sharing a portion of a bandwidth as in the FDM, in case of a FDM, we people have shared a portion of a link here. Okay, in case of a TDM, in case of a TDM, the bandwidth of this link is shared in time. Each connection occupies a portion of a time on this link here. That is the conceptual view of this TDM mechanism. That is a time division multiplexing mechanism here. When it comes to this TDMA, we people are interested in the information, the message that is sent by the station 1 should and must go to station 1 here. In the same manner, the station 2 is communicating or sending some sort of a message to station 2. Station 3 is communicating with the station 3 here. The delivery is fixed here, and it's unvarying. We need to, if you look at this TDM mechanism, we need to remember that this is the digital multiplexing technique. The digital data that comes from different sources that are combined into the data are combined into one time shared link here. However, in certain cases, the station can generate analog signal also, but before we people are using this TDM, first we need to convert this analog signal to a digital data first. Analog data to a digital data. After that, we can apply the multiplexing. This TDM is a digital multiplexing technique for combining several low rate channel into one high rate one here. Here we people are using two schemes. One is a synchronous time division multiplexing. Another one is a statistical time division multiplexing. In case of a synchronous TDM mechanism, the data flow from each input connection is divided into units. Here we have input connections. That input connections are divided into units here, where these input each input occupies one input time slot here. These are the time slots, that is a T and a T here. Okay, these are time slots. Here what we people are doing, this data flow from these input connections are divided into units that are nothing but A1, A2, A3, B1. That is a second connection, B1, B2, B3. Third connection, C1, C2, and C3. Here each input connection, each input occupies one input time slot here. This unit can be a 1 bit, or it can be a 1 character, or it may be a one block of our data here. Each input unit, these each input units, for example A1, that simply occupies one output unit, that is nothing but these input units becomes the output units here. If you look at these the duration of a input time slot, that is a t here, whereas the duration of a output time slot is a n times shorter here. Suppose if the input time slot is a t second, on that case the output time slot is t by n second, where n is nothing but the number of input n is nothing but input connections we have. In other word, a unit in the output connection has a shorter duration, that is a n time shorter than the input duration here. Suppose if you have a shorter duration, that bit travels faster here. Here if you look at this synchronous TDM mechanism, here we people are that is a round of a data units. The round of a data units from each input connections are simply collected in frames here. Okay, that is A1, B1 and C1 are grouped into, are collected into frame 1 here. The next the data from input connections, that is A2, B2, C2, these are collected in another frame, that is a second frame here. Here if we have a n number of connections, a frame if you have a n number of connections, this frame is divided into n time slot. One time slot is allocated for each input connections here, each input connections here, or input lines, we can say that. Suppose if the duration of a input a unit is t, that is the duration of this A1 unit is t seconds, if you look at this scenario, for example, that is a A1 unit, we have a input unit here, that is A1, that the duration of this unit is t seconds. On that case, the duration of this particular unit at the output unit becomes n times shorter here, where n is nothing but the number of input connections we have. That is, if here we have 3 input connections, for that purpose the duration for this A1 unit becomes shorter by 3 here, that is a t by 3 here. Here if the duration of a input unit is t, the duration of each slot is a t by n here, and the duration of each frame, that is a t here. If you look at this time synchronous time division multiplexing, we have a data units, we have a number of input connection, we have a n number of input lines, and the data from these input lines are divided in terms of units. Okay, and these units simply occupies one input time slot, and this input time slot becomes the one output time slot. Okay, that is nothing but this input time slot occupies one output time slot here, and this input data units are simply collected in a frame here. The duration of this particular frame is nothing but t seconds, and the duration of these data units that is that occupies one output time slot is nothing but a t by 3 seconds here. Here the data rate of a output link, if you look at this, we have a output link here. The output link should and must work n times faster than these input connections. So that to guarantee the flow of data here. Here, if you look at this scenario, suppose we have a input lines that transmits your information at the rate of 1 kbps. The second also transmit the information at the rate of 1 kbps here. On that case, this output link should and must work at the rate of 3 kbps here. Then only you people are able to provide the services for this input connections here. We have a low, these input connections have a low requirement, that is we have discussed here. We people are combining several low rate channels to one high rate here. We have a low rate requirement at the input side. To provide services for these data units, this output link should and must be n times faster than the this input links here. The time slot, these time slots are grouped into frames here. A frame consists of one complete cycle of a time slot with a one slot that is dedicated to each sending device here. That is nothing but this input data unit occupies one slot here. That is this one data unit or a input unit occupies one output time slot here, and the duration of this slot is n times shorter here. And if you have n input connections, the output link should and must be n times faster than these input connections here. In a synchronous TDM, the data rate of the link is n times faster and the unit duration is n times shorter here. Here the unit duration is n times shorter, whereas this the data rate of this output link is n times faster than the input connections here. If you look at this example, the data rate for each input connection is 3 kbps. If a 1 bit at a time is multiplexed, what is the the duration of a first one, each input slot, the second one is each output slot, and the third one is each frame here. If you look at this here. Here what we people are saying, we people are transmitting the information at the rate of 3 kbps. That is we people are sending that input connections. Okay, the data rate for this input connection is 3 kbps, and what we people are doing, we people are multiplexing 1 bit at a time. That is 1 bit from this flow, 1 bit from this flow, 1 bit from this flow. Okay, and here what we people are saying, the duration of this particular time slot is a t second, and this particular unit occupies a one output time slot, and the time slot of this particular data unit is shorter than n times here, whereas the link performs or works n times faster here. if you look at this scenario, the unit here is a 1 unit, the unit here is a 1 bit here. Okay, the data rate of each input connection is a 1 kbps. Sorry, this should and must be a 1 kbps. Okay, not a 3 kbps, it is a 1 kbps. The input connections is a 1 kbps. That means the bit duration, that is a the bit duration is a nothing but a 1 divided by 1000, that is nothing but a 1 millisecond. That is the duration of input time slot here. Okay, this input time slot occupies one output time slot, and that one output, output time slot is n times shorter here. Okay, the duration of this input time slot is 1 millisecond here. The next one we people are interested to compute the each output slot here. The duration of each output time slot is a 1/3 of the input time slots here, because we have a three connections. Okay, we have a 3 input lines. For that purpose, that is a 3 times shorter here. The duration of each output time slot is a 1/3 of a input time slot here. That means the duration of a output time slot is 1/3 milliseconds. That is, the duration of that one particular bit is nothing but a 1/3 of a millisecond here. Each frame carries 3 output time slots here. So the duration of a frame is nothing but a 3 into 1/3 millisecond, that is a 1 millisecond. Or you can use another approach here, that is the T, that is the duration. Okay, and that is equal to the duration of this one particular frame here, that is a T. The second one, here we people are having 4 input connections of 1 Mbps. Okay, and we people need to multiplex the data stream from these input connections, and the one data stream for the output here. The unit of a data here is a 1 bit, that is, we people are multiplexing 1 bit at a time here. Find the first one, that is input bit duration, that is a bit duration at the input side. The second one, output bit duration, that is a bit duration at the output side, that is over the output link. The third one is the output bit rate, at what rate the channel works, sends the data. The fourth one, the output frame rate. Here the input bit duration is nothing but the inverse of this bit rate, that is 1 divided by 1 Mbps, that is nothing but a 1 microsecond we people are getting here. What is the output bit rate in that case? We have 4 connections we have, that is nothing but a 1/4 of the this particular input time slot, that is 1/4 into 1 microsecond. The third one we people are having, the output bit rate is the output bit rate is nothing but that is the that has to work n times faster than the input connections. Suppose if we have a 4 input connection that works that have a bit rate of 1 Mbps. On that case, we people are getting 4 Mbps. Or you can use another approach. We have already computed the bit duration here, and we people are able to compute that bit rate, that is nothing but the inverse of this bit duration, that is a 1 divided by 4 microsecond. On that case, we people are getting 4 Mbps here. The fourth one, that is a frame rate. Here we people are sending 1 bit at a time. Okay, and we people are interested to compute at what rate we people are generating sending these frames. The frame rate is always the same as the any input rate. So the frame rate is nothing but a 10 to the power 6 frames per second we people are generating, because we people are sending 4 bits in each frame here. We can verify the result of the previous question by multiplying the frame rate by the number of bits per frame here. If you look at this particular scenario, that is the previous one, that is we have a 1 Mbps of input connections we have, and a unit here is that is a 1 bit, that is a 1 bit we people are taking from this each input connections here, that is a unit we have. And we need to compute the duration first, that is a time slot of this unit, that is a t. This t is a n times shorter over this output time slot here. Okay, and here we people are generating t frames per second. Suppose if you are transmitting the information at the input bit rate is a 1 Mbps, on that case we people are getting the output bit rate is nothing but 4 times faster than the input connections. Okay, we have 4 connections here. The output connection should and must be a n time faster than these input connections. 4 into 1 Mbps, that is a 4 Mbps. When it comes to this frame rate, at what rate we people are sending this data, that is at the rate of 1 Mbps, that is a 10 to the power 6 bits per second. In the same rate we people are generating these frames here, that is nothing but a 10 to the power 6 frames per second here. This is the similar example that is associated with this TDM mechanism. The next one we have interleaving. We can visualize this TDM as two fast rotating switches. Okay, one on the multiplexing side and another on a demultiplexing side. These switches are synchronized and rotate in the same speed but in the opposite direction. On the multiplexing side, whenever this switch opens, this connection has an opportunity to send data units onto this particular path here. Okay, and we simply call this particular process as a interleaving. On a other hand, on a demultiplexing side, a switch opens in front of this connection. That connection has an opportunity to receive a unit from this particular path. Here 4 channels are multiplexed using a TDM. If each channel sends 100 bytes per second, here what we people are doing? We are sending 100 bytes per second here. Okay, each channel sends 100 bytes per second, and we multiplex 1 byte per channel. We people are interested to show the frame traveling on this link, the size of a frame, the duration of the frame, as well as the frame rate and the bit rate of the link. The multiplexer, that is, if you look at this particular scenario, each input connections send the information at the rate of 100 bytes per second, and the unit we have here is 1 byte at a time. That is, we people are taking 1 byte from this connection, 1 byte from this connection, 1 byte from this connection, 1 byte from this connection. That is, we people are transmitting the information or collecting these data units in the on a round robin fashion here. Okay. Suppose if you take a 1 byte from each input connection, this frame simply consists of 32 bits. That is, a frame consists of 4 bytes here. Suppose if you are transmitting 100 bytes per second, in the sense we people are generating 100 frames per second here at the output side. Okay. If you look at this, the duration, okay, the frame duration is nothing but a 1 by 100 second. Here we people are generating 100 frames per second here. Okay, and each frame consists of 4 byte information. That is a 1 byte from each input connections. That is nothing but a 32 bits in each frame. This one frame consists of 32 bit information. 32 into 100, that is nothing but a 3200 bits per second. This is the input bit rate and this is the output bit rate. Okay. This is also similar to that of the previous one, but here what we people are doing, we people are multiplexing 2 bits at a time here. Okay, we people are multiplexing 2 bit at a time. In the sense, this frame carries 8 bits here. Based on that, we people are performing the same operation. 100 kbps, 100 kbps, 100 kbps, 100 kbps input connections we have. In the sense, your output channel should and must n times faster than the input channels here. That is 100 into 4, that is a 400 kbps. Okay. So, and here we people, as we people are multiplexing 2 bits at a time, we people are generating 50,000 frames per second here. If you look at this, the duration of this 1 bit, we people are getting the frame duration, that is nothing but 1 divided by 50,000. Okay, second, that is a 20 microsecond here. If you look at this particular scenario, this synchronous TDM is not a efficient one, because if the source does not have the data to send, on that case the corresponding slot is empty at the output frame. Listen, suppose if you don't have a data to send, on that case the corresponding slot in the output frame is empty here. For that purpose, we people are getting some sort of a discontinuous data here. Okay, and because of that reason, we people are getting the problem, that is a disparity here. That is a disparity in the input data rates. We can overcome this particular problem by using the statistical TDM. Another mechanism we people are using, that is a we can overcome this particular mechanism by statistical TDM here. When it comes to this asynchronous TDM, that we people are having that one particular problem, that is how we people are going to handle that disparity here. If you look at all these previous scenarios, we people are using the input lines, these input lines have the same data rate here. Okay, and in some cases we have input lines, they are having a data rate, varying data rate. Okay, a varying data rate. On that case, we people are using some different approaches, like multi-level multiplexing, or multiple slot allocation. Another one is a pulse stuffing process here. In case of a multi-level multiplexing, it is a technique that is used when the data rate of this input line, is multiple of others. Okay. If you look at this, we are having a 40 kbps of a 40 kbps input connections, whereas we have two connections that are 20 kbps of a data rate we have. Here we people are multiplexing these two input connections, so that we will get a 40 kbps of a bit rate here. That is 2 into 20 kbps, that is a 40 kbps here. Once you multiplex all these 4 input connections, we people are getting 160 kbps of a output bit rate here. The next one, we have a multiple slot multiplexing. In some cases, it is more efficient to allot or allocate more slots than one slot. If you look at a synchronous TDMA, one input unit occupies one output slot here. That is a one input time slot occupies one output time slot here. Here we people are very much interested how we people are able to allocate more than one slot in the output slot here. In that cases, we people are using this multiple slot multiplexing here. Here we have a 50 kbps input lines. The remaining 3 are 25 kbps of a data rate have. We have a input lines, we have a data rate of 25 kbps. Here we people are we need to split this 50 kbps into 25 kbps data rate here. For that purpose, we people are using some serial to parallel converter here, so that we can make two inputs out of this one input connection here. And these input time slots, that is input time slots occupies output time slot. This is here when it comes to this particular scenario, we have a 5 input connections. Okay, with a data rate of 25 kbps now. Okay, this 50 kbps of a data rate, that is a input data rate, is divided into two input connections, that is a 25 kbps of a data rate here. And this when we multiplex all these 5 channel, on that case we people are allocating 2 slots for this 2 slots we people are assigning for this first 2 connection, that is 25 as well as a 25 here. The input with a 50 kbps data rate has a 2 slots in each frame here. And the output bit rate what we people are getting here, that is a 125 kbps. Another mechanism we people are using here, that is the pulse stuffing process. Sometimes the bit rate of a source are not a multiple integers of each other. For example, we have here we have a 50 kbps, we have a 50 kbps input connections we have. The third one we have the 46 kbps. In these cases we may not able to apply these 2 approaches. One is a multi-level multiplexing as well as a multiple slot multiplexing here. What we people are doing in this pulse stuffing, we need to increase this bit rate to a 50 kbps here. Okay, that is we need to append the number of zeros to it, so that we can make this bit rate as a 50 kbps here. This process is nothing but the pulse stuffing process here. Implementation of TDM is not a simple one. Okay, synchronization between the multiplexer as well as a demultiplexer is a major issue. Otherwise, suppose this multiplexer as well as a demultiplexer are not synchronized, the bit belonging to one channel may be received by another wrong channel here. Just for this purpose, we need to send one or more synchronization bits that are added to the beginning of this each frame here. Okay, we simply call them as a framing bits, and these framing bits or a synchronization bits simply follow a pattern. Okay, frame to frame allows the demultiplexer to synchronize with the incoming stream, so that it can separate these time slots accurately. For example, 101. Okay, you can assign these a sequence, that is a synchronization bits for these frames here, so that it simply came to know that slot durations here. We have 4 sources, each creating 250 characters per second. If the interleaved unit is a character and one synchronization bit is added to each frame, then first one, find the data rate of each source, the duration of each character in each source, the frame rate. The next one, the duration of each frame, the number of bits in each frame, and the sixth one, that is the data rate of the link. Here the data rate of each source, that is nothing but we are generating around 250 character per second. That character can be represented by 8 bit. For that purpose, the data rate of input line is here, that is 2 kbps, that is a 250 into 8, 2 kbps. Here each source sends a 250 character per second. Therefore, the duration of a character is nothing but a 1 by 250 seconds. We are generating 250 characters here. Don't convert this information in terms of a bit. We are generating a character per second here, and for that purpose the duration of this character is nothing but a 1 by 250 second. That is nothing but a 4 milliseconds. Here the third one, that is a that deals with computing the frame rate here. At what rate we people are generating. Here each frame has a one character from each source, which means the link needs to send 250 frames per second. That is a frame rate. That is a 250 frames per second. The duration of each frame, okay, that is equal to this character duration, okay, that is nothing but a 1 divided by 250 second, that is a 4 millisecond. The fifth one, the number of bits in each frame here. Here each frame carries 4 characters, plus we people are adding one extra bit, that is a synchronization bit here. That is 8 into 4, that is a 32 plus 1, that is we have a 33 bits in each frame here. Here if you look at this the last one, that is the data rate of the link. On that case, we people are generating around 250 frames per second, and each frame consists 33 bits here. Okay, that is a 250 into 33. That we people are getting. That is nothing but 250 into 33 bits per second here. Two channels, one with a bit rate of 100 kbps and another with a bit rate of 200 kbps are multiplexed. We have only two channels here. One has a bit rate of 100 kbps, another one has a 200 kbps. How this multiplexing can be achieved? What is a frame rate? What is a frame duration? And what is the bit rate of the link here? Here we can allocate one slot for the first channel and 2 slots for the second channel here. Here each frame carries the 3 bits here, and the frame rate is nothing but a 1 lakh frames per second. That is because it carries a 1 bit from the first channel here. Okay, and what is the bit rate? That is a 1 lakh frames per second into 3 bits per frame. That is nothing but a 300 kbps of a bit rate of a output link we people are getting here. When it comes to the digital signal services, these are telephone services simply uses this digital signal hierarchy here. Here 24 DS0 channels, that is a digital channels, are multiplexed here. Okay, and each these channel simply have a bit rate of a 64 kbps. If you multiplex these 24 channels, we people are getting a DS1. Okay, and this DS0 is It's a single digital channel that provides a bitrate of 64 kbps. Okay, that is a base channel, we can say that here at this particular point in time. And if you multiplex all these 24 channels, we people are getting the DS1. This DS1 simply provides the bit rate of 1.544 Mbps. Okay, that supports 24 DS0 channels here. That is a digital channels here. Suppose if you multiplex 4 DS1, on that case we people are getting this DS2 here. That is a digital signal service. Okay, that has a bit rate of 6.312 Mbps. 6.312 Mbps. Suppose if you multiplex these 7 DS2 digital channels, we people are able to achieve 44.376 Mbps of a bit rate here. Okay, in turn these DS3, that is 6 DS3 channels are multiplexed to achieve 274.716 Mbps of a bit rate here. If you look at this DS1, this DS1 service simply receives around 8 kbps of overhead, whereas the DS2 has a overhead of 168 kbps of overhead we people are receiving. When it comes to this DS3 services, we people are getting around 1.368 Mbps of overhead. When it comes to this DS4, we people are receiving the overhead of 16.128 Mbps of overhead we people are receiving. And here we people are using these T lines to provide these DS services. Okay, that is a T1 provides the DS1 services at the rate of 1.544 Mbps, and it supports 24 voice channels, whereas a T2 supports a 96 voice channel, whereas a T3 supports a 672 voice channel, whereas a T4 line supports a 4032 voice channels here. That is nothing but this T4 provides the DS4 services, T3 provides DS3 services, T2 provides DS2 services with this data rate here. If you look at why we people are receiving that DS1 is receiving 8,000 bits of overhead, we have a 24 voice channel. These voice channels are converted to a digital channel by using this pulse code modulation technique. When it comes to this pulse code modulation technique, we need to sample this input signal at the rate of 8,000 samples per second. Okay, and these samples uses 8 bits here. That is 8 bits per sample here. If you look at this multiplexing, the T1 frame structure, here these samples that carry 8-bit information. Here this one frame simply consists around 193 bits here. Okay, 8 bit from each input line here. Okay, in the sense we have a 24 channels, 24 into 8, that is a 192 bits we people are getting, and we people are adding one extra bit here, that is for a synchronization purpose. Okay, that is each bit carries around, each frame carries around 193 bits here, and we people are sampling these at the rate of 8000 frames per second. In the sense, we people are getting these 8000 bits as a overhead here. Here we people are getting that T1 services, that is a 8000 into 193 bits per second, that we people are getting around 1.544 Mbps here. These are a European standard, that is a E1 line provides around 2.048 bit rate, and that supports around 30 voice channels, whereas E2 supports 120 voice channel, E3 supports 480 voice channel, E4 supports 1920 voice channels. Okay, whereas E4 provides a bit rate of 139.264 Mbps, E3 34.368 Mbps, E2 provides 8.448 Mbps here. If you look at the applications that are associated with this synchronous TDM, we people are using this TDM mechanism in case of a second generation cellular network here. We have already discussed that the cellular telephony simply divides the available bandwidth into 30 kilohertz of a band here. Okay, and for each band, if you apply this TDM, so that 6 user can share that a particular band. In the sense, these users are able to send a digitized voice signal over that slots here. In the sense, the number of users in that particular cell can be increased by 6 times here. That is, we people are dividing that a band into channels of 30 kilohertz first by using a frequency division multiplexing, and after that we people are applying this TDMA mechanism. That is nothing but we people are using that modulation technique for a division purpose. After that we people are applying this TDMA mechanism, so that the digitized voice signal can be transferred over these bands. That is nothing but the user can share that band in terms of times here. Okay, that is nothing but we people are increasing that number of users in that particular cell 6 times here. We people are gone through one particular problem in the when it comes to synchronous TDM mechanism. That is, in case of a synchronous TDM mechanism, each input has a reserved slot in a output frame here. And suppose if a station don't have a data to send, on that case that a slot simply remains empty. And we can say that the synchronous TDM mechanism is not an efficient one. Just to overcome that mechanism, we people are using this statistical TDM. When it comes to statistical TDM, if input lines have a worthy data, then only the slots will be reserved at the output side. In the sense, each frame has a slot for those input connections, if that input connections have a worthy data to send over that channel. If you look at this statistical TDM, the number of slots in the frame is lesser than the input connections here. In case of a synchronous TDM, if you have a n number of input lines or input connections, on that case each frame consists n number of slots, and these slots are reserved for these input lines here. That is, each input has a reserved slot in an output frame here. Okay, that is not in case of a statistical TDM. In case of a statistical TDM, if these input connections have a worthy data, then only the slot will be allotted here. We people are facing another problem here when it comes to this statistical TDM. That is how these data are delivered to the appropriate output lines here. In case of a synchronous TDM, we people are using the process called interleaving. This multiplexer as well as a demultiplexer are synchronized with each other, as well as based on some sort of a pre-assigned relationship between this input as well as output. We don't need any kind of addressing mechanism. In the sense, suppose we have already gone through that interleaving process. Okay, whenever at the multiplexing side, if a switch opens in front of a connection, that particular input connection has an opportunity to send data over that channel. At the same time, the appropriate switch opens at the output side here. For that purpose, whatever the data we people are sending, the output line will receive that information properly. In case of a statistical TDM, we people the channels that don't have data to send, they don't have any kind of slots reserved over this frame here. On that case, we people are facing a problem, that is where exactly we need to deliver these data units. For that purpose, we need to send some extra bits here along with these data units. That is nothing but addresses. Okay. Here, suppose if you have a n input, n output lines, on that case we can use log n to the base bits to represent those output lines here. Okay. For example, if you have 8 output connections, on that case, that is a log 8 to the base 2. That is nothing but we people are getting 3. That is a 3-bit information can be used so that we can identify these outputs here, or output connections here, or output lines, we can say that. When it comes to the another the disadvantage that are associated with this synchronous TDM is nothing but a slot size. Okay, we people need to maintain the ratio of this data bits to a address bit. Okay, as a appropriate one or a reasonable one here. Suppose if you are sending a 1 bit and if you are adding a 3 bit for addressing purpose, on that case we people are simply adding a overhead of around 300% here. The next one, we have a no synchronization bit. In case of a synchronous TDM, just to achieve that synchronization properly, we people are using that synchronization bits here. Okay, otherwise implementing that synchronous TDM becomes the very difficult one. Okay, the multiplexer as well as a demultiplexer should and must be synchronized with each other. Okay, for that purpose we people are sending these synchronization bits along with frames here. And in case of a statistical TDM, we people are not at all using these synchronization bits because some input lines don't have a reserved slots here. Okay, and for that purpose we people are using these address fields. Okay, for that purpose we people are not at all using this synchronization bit in case of a statistical TDM here. When it comes to the bandwidth, in a statistical TDM, the capacity of the that output link is normally less than the sum of all these input channels here. Okay, here most of the time the capacity of the link is completely based on some statistics that is based on a statistics, that is the load for each channel here. If on average only X percent of input slots are filled, the capacity of the link reflects this here. And during a peak time, some slots need to wait here. That is another problem we people are facing here. In the next session, we people are going to discuss about spread spectrum here. Okay. Thank you.